Hey there, today we're going to talk about something that sounds simple but is actually a pretty radical act in our crazy, busy world. We're diving into the power of self-compassion. Okay, let me ask you something. If a good friend of yours was really struggling, they messed up or are just feeling down on themselves, what would you do? I bet your first instinct is to be kind, right? You'd offer some support, some understanding. So here's the big question. Why are we so hard on ourselves? I mean, that same kindness we give away so freely, it just vanishes when we need it most. Instead, we've got this inner critic on loudspeaker, pointing out every single mistake. It's exhausting, isn't it? So, what is going on there? All right, first up, let's talk about the inner critic trap. This is a really common pattern, where we basically become our own worst enemies. It's that nagging voice of judgment that can make you feel totally alone and cut off. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. So often, our default setting is just merciless judgment, right? We criticize ourselves for every little thing. But self-compassion, that's a whole different road to take. Okay, so what's the alternative? It's all about making a complete U-turn. It's about taking that kindness we dish out to everyone else and finally turning it inward, back on ourselves. And let me tell you, this is a game changer in how you deal with your own struggles. So what is self-compassion really? It's basically treating yourself like you would a good friend. And let's be clear, this isn't about self-pity or making excuses for everything. Nope, it's about choosing to be on your own team, especially when things get tough. It's learning how to be your own best ally. All right, so how do we actually do this? Well, the brilliant researcher, Dr. Kristen Neff, breaks it down into three main parts. First up, self-kindness over self-judgment. Super important. Second, common humanity. This is huge. It's just remembering that messing up and struggling is part of being human. Everyone goes through it. It totally cuts through that feeling of being all alone. And finally, number three is mindfulness. This is about noticing your painful feelings without getting totally sucked into them. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. A lot of us kind of resist this whole idea, right? We worry it's going to make us soft or lazy. So let's get into it. We're going to bust some of the biggest myths that get in the way. Okay, myth number one. Self-compassion is just weakness. It'll make you soft. The truth? It's the complete opposite. It actually builds emotional resilience. Think about it. When you're facing a tough challenge, who do you want in your corner? An inner ally cheering you on or an inner critic tearing you down? Self-compassion is what gives you the strength to face all the tough stuff life throws at you. And this next one, this is a big one. The myth that self-compassion will kill your motivation. That it's basically just laziness in disguise. We think we have to be tough on ourselves to succeed, but that inner drill sergeant, it just leads to burnout and a fear of even trying. The truth is, self-compassion is a way better motivator. You're driven by wanting to do well for yourself, not by fear of beating yourself up. It helps you learn from mistakes and actually get back up again. And the last big myth, that self-compassion is selfish. But come on, compassion isn't like a pie with only so many slices. It's not a zero-sum game. You know that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup? It's so true. The more you fill your own cup with compassion, the more you have to give to everyone else. In fact, the science shows that people who are kind to themselves are often more giving and supportive to others. But there's another layer to this that is so cool. Self-compassion isn't just about being gentle and passive. It has two sides, and both are super important. We're going to look at what's called tender and fierce compassion. So on one hand, you have tender compassion. This is the being with part. It's about comforting yourself, accepting where you're at. But then you have fierce compassion. And this is all about action. It's about protecting yourself, making changes, and, this is a big one, drawing boundaries and saying no. One is about healing, and the other is about empowerment. You need both. I love this quote because it makes it so clear. Tender compassion is like a parent soothing their kid. But fierce compassion? That's the mama bear who shows up to protect her cubs. It's that powerful energy that helps you stand up for yourself. Not because you're broken, but because you value yourself enough to fight for your own well-being. Okay, so we've talked about what self-compassion is and why it's so important. Now for the fun part. How do we actually put this into practice? How do we start changing that inner voice? Here are three really simple first steps you can take, starting today. First, just start noticing your thoughts. Don't judge them or fight them, just watch them float by like clouds. Second, the next time you're struggling, pause and ask yourself that one question. What would I tell a friend right now? Then, seriously, try saying it to yourself.
And third, try some kind of affirmations. I know it can feel a little cheesy at first, but simple things like it's okay to make mistakes can literally start to rewire your brain.
So here's the bottom line. Self-compassion isn't about magically erasing your problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about changing how you meet those problems. It transforms your ability to handle whatever comes your way. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What if your inner voice wasn't your harshest critic anymore? What if, instead, it became your absolute greatest ally?